I moved abroad this year, left the United States, and it seems like no matter how far away I get from the US, the algorithm still makes it feel like I'm right back in the midst of all the US chaos. My feeds are still packed with US problems, US rage baiting, US hustle culture, the whole thing. And I just can't seem to get away from it, like no matter what I try. So I decided to try to kind of build my own feeds and take like that one final symbolic step away from like the US algorithms. And something has really changed in the last 6 years or so. Back when I would hop off a plane in Singapore or Fukuoka or Chiang Mai, my feeds really adjusted to where I was. Even though that at that time we were still in the chaos of the first Trump election and the news was constant and relentless, like less of it actually made it in front of me. And this was obviously before TikTok, before short form video kind of had taken over the world. But even like Facebook seemed to be pushing less of the US focused content to me all the time. There was really a sense of relief being abroad, a relief getting out of that news cycle and having a little room to breathe. Yeah. And I'm sort of acutely aware of the power of the algorithm as a content creator. I built like an audience of hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok that no longer see basically anything I post there because just one day I woke up and the algorithm decided that was it. I think like the power these platforms have to greenlight what you see and choose what you see goes way beyond what we even imagine. So I've been abroad for like 6 months and kind of slowly have gotten into kind of the pace of life of Chiang Mai, which is like a famously laid back, very chill city where things move a little more slowly. I am cautiously trying to let go of some of my deeply ingrained and deeply American kind of need to be in a constant state of sort of anxious productivity. But the one thing that like keeps getting in the way is scrolling. I make a decent chunk of my living on social media. So for me, having the apps isn't optional. I have to have them. There's no way around it. And just the constant need to pull up my phone and take a look at what's going on and scroll, it's relentless. It's just always there. And I think a big part of that is because social media has sort of become so hyper optimized for engagement. We have less and less of an ability to shape our feed to what we actually want. And even if you change who you follow, change your settings, do all this stuff, ultimately the feeds will prioritize more than anything else the things that get you emotionally engaged and make you pause a split second longer when you're scrolling. And I don't think that's the same as what people actually like or want or what's good for them or what we should show them. The current version of social media as it is today just leaves me feeling terrible basically every time I use it to some degree, or at least a little worse every single time. And something I know about myself, and I think I know just about human behavior in general, is that you don't get people to stop something through sheer willpower. You have to provide a better alternative. Now, lucky for me, I used to make feeds kind of for a living as part of my job. I would patch together these RSS feeds about a bunch of like industry stuff and make like a little custom industry feed for someone that they could read on their RSS reader. And so I knew we could kind of build our feeds, fully control what was in them, and that it was a little tricky, and it wasn't something that was as effortless as logging in and scrolling on social media, but that it was doable. One of my favorite things about this is one of the limitations, because with RSS, you're essentially porting in these little feeds of data from all over the internet. But the great thing about these is that they're just sorted by what's posted most recent. It is not based on engagement, it is not based on an algorithm, it is not trying to predict what will make you stop your scrolling for slightly longer. It's just whatever got posted most recently. And I think it's critical for everyone who's younger out there to understand how much better the internet was in the days when we just sorted things by what was most recent. Almost all of the moments of great joy and discovery I had on the internet happened in that period, because algorithms really can't predict the little magical things and the little magical moments of discovery that really resonate with us and change our perspective and show us new things that we wouldn't have considered before. That really only happens when you open yourself up to a less hyper-optimized feed of content. So one of the limitations to RSS, I think, is also one of the benefits, which is you can't actually put everything into it. It's not the kind of thing that accepts every type of media. So the first thing we have to do is kind of figure out what we actually can follow and what we actually can add. And the nice thing about that is I think it encourages us to consume content that's a little healthier, a little better for our brains, and the kind of stuff that's better for actual content creators, and in a kind of cool way fixes a lot of the issues with the modern internet. So first off, RSS readers are best for, you guessed it, reading. They lend themselves really well to text. Your Substacks, your Mediums, any blogs out there, newsletters, that sort of thing. They're all set up really well to handle that. They also do pretty good with image feeds, but many of them can't pipe in social media. So your Reels, your TikToks just aren't really going to be an option. And because of that, we then shift our consumption, right? And you might have noticed the pattern here. It's a lot of slower content, a lot of content you have to be actively engaged with, a lot of the kind of stuff that is maybe not as harmful to our poor dopamine-deprived brains. And so I'm so excited about this idea, but it's a little bit of a tricky thing to make a video about. RSS is from kind of a different era of the internet when things were a little less intuitive, a little more tricky. Just to start, I think for most people wanting to start with a free option, Inoreader, I have a link for it below, is a good place to start. Then there are paid options with free trials. If you use Readwise already, Readwise Reader is awesome. And also a great option if you're somebody who does a lot of reading on Kindle or saves a lot of articles online, Readwise is awesome. And then there's like Feeder, which is another great alternative, powerful RSS reader, lots of great features. I believe paid. I'll take a look at if there's a free trial, and I'll include links for these below. But that leads to another big challenge, which is like knowing what you actually want to see in your feed every day. I think one of the not so great things about social media algorithms is that they do the content discovery for you. It seems like a feature. Oh, if there's a cool new thing I might like, it just magically shows up. I think a lot of us have lost the need to go out and find new things, find new artists, find people talking about interesting topics, find people we resonate with in some other way. And even deeper than that, I think there's another issue here, which is that a lot of people are losing their sense of who they really are and what they really like. That is blending together with what gets their engagement. So the example I use for this is you scroll on social media, something goes by that makes you angry and upset. And because it makes you angry and upset, you pause a split second longer, and that signals to the algorithm you want to see more of that stuff. And they keep showing you more of that stuff that makes you kind of angry and upset. And after they've done that 100 times, you might actually start to, at least part of you, start to believe that that's what you like, or that the things you're seeing every day and the fact that it's showing up means that that's actually part of who you are when it isn't at all. So for me, my first step was remembering, like, what do I actually like? What do I actually like? And obviously I can look at who I'm subscribed to, and that helps a little bit, but I wanted to go beyond that. I thought about, like, I used to love reading the Smithsonian magazine. And if y'all haven't seen it before, the Smithsonian Museum has a magazine they write. It's great, it's super cheap, and it helps support one of America's last great institutions. Go check it out. But I used to love that. So I knew, okay, yeah, it's like archaeology stories and stories of conservation efforts and science. I love those. I should probably add that to the list. I love seeing great design. I love seeing great art. And it seems like no matter what I do, my feeds don't show me enough great design and great art. All right, it gives me a good starting point. I can jump off from there and put together kind of like a minimum version of this. But as these things tend to go, it wasn't that easy. So I started, and a few things came up. One, a lot of places I just couldn't figure out if they even had RSS. They didn't list it on their site. I couldn't find a way to get it. And so there was some complexity there, even getting it at all. More than that, I just couldn't find enough of what I wanted to see. Like, because of the relatively slow frequency of people posting like high quality original content, I realized, like, I don't even know enough people to follow in the first place. And so I turned to kind of the internet's newest, greatest boogeyman, AI. And look, like, I know I'm gonna get some angry comments about that. I get it, I understand it's fraught. But I think if there's ever been like a good ethical use of AI, this probably makes the cut, which is I started using AI as my new discovery algorithm because I had more control over what it found for me. And so I would tell it, hey, look, here's the type of stuff I like. Here's the type of stuff I'm following. Here's the type of stuff I definitely don't like. Go out, find me some great RSS feeds with really high quality content coming in that meet these specs, and find me new artists related to these subtitles. And believe it or not, it really worked. Like, I started uncovering some really great new stuff that I didn't know about before, and it really started to expand what I was seeing in my feed in like a meaningful way. And like with a bit of messing around, adding feeds, removing feeds, using some of the cool automation features built into some of these tools, I have built out an algorithm that is kind of like a really lovely little place to turn when I feel the urge to scroll. When I go on there, I can pretty much guarantee I'm gonna see things that are gonna leave me feeling better, not worse. And that is not something I could say for social media. And it's like, it has made a meaningful difference in my social media consumption. I'm still using social media. I still go and scroll sometimes. In fact, I scroll way too long for hours sometimes. But I gotta say, knowing there's another option, knowing there's an option that isn't gonna make me feel terrible really has changed my behavior. Like, I really do turn to it less now. So if you want to try this yourself, I dropped a bunch of links in, and I included little descriptions about when to use each one for what situation, when it's going to be better for you. I'm finding that like our digital presence is bleeding more and more into our offline lives in ways I don't really like. I certainly don't like it for myself and how it's affected me. And I am starting to explore little things like this, these little baby steps towards disengaging a little bit from online life becoming reality, connecting more with real people, doing more real things in real life, and just figuring out what works for that. And I hope some of the stuff that works for me also works for everybody else. And I'm excited to talk more about this. And like, if you have questions, let me know. If you want to know more about this stuff, let me know. And if you want to see more of this stuff, subscribe. There's more coming. I know my channel's all about Excel, but it has changed. There's going to be a lot more of this stuff in the future. So come check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely time wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.